Walk out to your garden right now and look at your cucumber plants. Go ahead. If you are seeing white powdery patches on the leaves, if the vines are yellowing and wilting even though you watered yesterday, if a plant that looked perfectly healthy 3 days ago is suddenly collapsing in front of your eyes, then I need you to stop whatever you are doing and watch this all the way through. Because your cucumber plant is not dead. Not yet. But it is dying. And the difference between losing it and saving it comes down to what you do in the next 48 hours. Here is the part almost nobody tells you. In late July, cucumber plants across the United States and Europe start dying in huge numbers, and it happens fast. One day the plant is producing. 2 days later the leaves are spotted and pale. By the end of the week, the whole thing is a brown, collapsing mess. Gardeners panic, assume the season is over, and rip the plant out. But most of those plants could have been saved. I have brought plants back from the edge that looked completely finished. Yellow leaves, white mildew, wilting vines, the works, and within 2 weeks they were green and producing again. Today, I am going to show you exactly how to save a dying cucumber plant. We are going to figure out precisely what is killing it, because there are 4 main culprits at this time of year, and each one has a different fix. Then I'm going to give you the emergency rescue steps for each. And by the end, you will know how to bring a plant back from the brink and keep it producing all the way to the first frost. This is the video I wish I had my first summer, when I lost every cucumber plant I owned in the span of 2 weeks and had no idea why. Let's save your plants. Quick thing before we dive in, and I will keep it to 10 seconds. If you want more real, no-nonsense gardening that actually works in a real backyard, hit subscribe and turn on the bell. It is free. It takes 1 second, and it means the next video that saves your harvest lands right in front of you. Thousands of gardeners are already here. Come join us. All right, let's diagnose your plant, because you cannot save it until you know what is killing it. When a cucumber plant starts dying in late July, there are 4 main causes. And here is the most important thing I can tell you in this entire video. The fix is completely different depending on which one you have. Treat the wrong problem, and you waste the little time your plant has left. So the first job is diagnosis. Let's walk through all 4. And as I describe each, look at your plant and figure out which one matches. The first killer is powdery mildew. This is the most common cucumber problem in existence at this time of year, and right now in late July, it is everywhere across the USA and Europe. Here is how you identify it. Look at the leaves, especially the older lower ones. Do you see white or grayish powdery patches, like someone dusted the leaves with flour? That is powdery mildew, a fungal disease that thrives in warm days, humid air, and poor airflow, which is exactly what late summer delivers. Here is why it is so deadly. That white coating physically blocks the leaf from photosynthesizing. Photosynthesis is how the plant makes all of its energy. As the mildew spreads leaf to leaf, the plant is slowly starved of the energy it needs to live and fruit. Left alone, powdery mildew can take a full healthy plant to dead in about 2 weeks. In the Vegetable Gardener's Bible, Edward C. Smith makes a point that stuck with me. He emphasizes that the real secret to controlling fungal disease in crops like cucumbers is not the spray you reach for after it appears, but the airflow and spacing you build in before it ever shows up. Prevention through airflow, he argues, does more than any treatment ever can. Keep that in mind because it shapes the rescue. The second killer is downy mildew, and people constantly confuse it with powdery mildew. But the fix is different, so you must tell them apart. Downy mildew does not look like white powder. Instead, look at the top surface of the leaves. Do you see angular yellow patches boxed in by the little veins of the leaf, almost like yellow tiles? And if you flip that leaf over, is there a grayish-purple fuzz on the underside? That is downy mildew. It is more aggressive than powdery mildew, and it spreads even faster in cool, wet, humid conditions. It can defoliate a plant in a matter of days, not weeks. If your plant is going downhill shockingly fast, downy mildew is a prime suspect. The third killer is bacterial wilt. And this one is sneaky and heartbreaking because the plant looks fine until it suddenly does not. Here is the tell. Is your plant wilting during the day, drooping like it desperately needs water, but the soil is actually moist? And does it maybe perk up a little at night, then wilt worse the next day, getting worse and worse over several days until whole vines collapse? That is the signature of bacterial wilt. It is a bacterial infection that clogs the plant's internal plumbing, the vessels that carry water up the stem. So no matter how much you water, the water cannot travel up to the leaves. And here is the crucial part. Bacterial wilt is spread by cucumber beetles. Those small yellow and black striped or spotted beetles chew on your plant and inject the bacteria as they feed. So bacterial wilt and a cucumber beetle problem go hand in hand. There is a simple field test for this one. Cut through a wilted stem near the base. Then slowly touch the two cut ends together and pull them apart. If you see a sticky, stringy white ooze stretching between them like a thread, that confirms bacterial wilt. The fourth killer is not a disease at all. It is stress. Specifically, the combination of heat stress, water stress, and nutrient exhaustion that hits every cucumber plant by late July. This is the one that shows up as yellowing and browning leaves, a plant that looks tired and faded all over, and production that is slowed to a crawl. By this point in the season, the plant has poured everything it had into months of growth and fruiting. The soil around its roots is drained of nutrients, and relentless heat plus inconsistent watering have pushed it into decline. It is not infected. It is exhausted and starving. And the good news is that this is often the most rescuable of all four. So, those are your four suspects: powdery mildew, the white flower-like coating; downy mildew, the yellow tiles with fuzzy purple undersides; bacterial wilt, the daytime wilting with moist soil and the stringy ooze test; and plain stress, the all-over yellowing and fading of an exhausted plant. Figure out which one or which combination you are dealing with, because now we move to the rescue. And the rescue depends on the diagnosis. Before we get to the rescue, I want to give you one more diagnostic tool, because getting this right is everything. A lot of gardeners look at a struggling cucumber plant and see only yellow leaves, and they assume it is one single problem. But yellowing is a symptom, not a diagnosis, and it shows up in almost all four killers. So here is how to read the yellowing itself, because the pattern of the yellow tells you the cause. If the yellowing is a fine mosaic or mottled pattern mixed with green, and the leaves look distorted or crinkled, you may be dealing with a virus often spread by aphids, and the answer there is to control the aphids fast and remove the worst leaves. If the yellowing starts at the leaf edges and moves inward while the whole plant looks faded and tired, that points to the exhaustion and nutrient starvation of the fourth killer. If the yellowing appears in those sharp angular patches boxed in by veins, that is downy mildew showing its hand. And if the lower leaves yellow first, while a white dust creeps across them, that is powdery mildew combined with age. Reading the yellow pattern turns a confusing mess into a clear diagnosis. And a clear diagnosis is half the cure. One more thing worth understanding before we rescue anything, and it is the reason late July is such a dangerous window for cucumbers in the first place. Everything that threatens a cucumber plant peaks at the same moment, right now. The humidity that fungus loves is at its height. The heat that stresses the plant is relentless. The soil is at its most depleted after months of heavy feeding. The insect populations that were small in June have had 2 full months to explode into thousands, and the plant itself is at its most tired. All of these pressures converge in late July and early August, which is exactly why healthy-looking plants seem to collapse overnight. It is not overnight at all. It is months of building pressure, finally breaking through all at once. Understanding that helps you see why the rescue has to hit multiple problems together, not just one. Let's start the rescue with the most common case, powdery mildew, because this is what most of you are looking at right now. Step 1. Prune out the worst of it immediately. Take clean scissors or pruners and remove every leaf that is heavily coated in white. Do not be timid here. A badly mildewed leaf is not helping the plant anyway. It is a source of spores infecting everything around it. Remove the worst leaves, and critically, do not compost them. Bag them and put them in the trash, or the spores will simply spread again. Just do not remove more than about 1/3 of the plant at once, or you will shock it. Step 2. Improve the airflow immediately. This connects directly to what Edward C. Smith stressed about prevention. Thin out the crowded, congested center of the plant so air can move freely through it. Mildew thrives in still, humid, stagnant air trapped inside a dense plant. Open it up, and you make the environment hostile to the fungus. Step 3. Spray. Here is the homemade treatment that works. Into 1 gallon of water. Mix 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of liquid dish soap, and 1 teaspoon of vegetable oil. Spray it on the tops and undersides of all remaining leaves. The baking soda shifts the leaf surface to an alkaline pH that the fungus cannot survive on. Spray early morning or evening, never in hot, direct sun, or the oil will scorch the leaves. Reapply every 4 to 5 days. And here is a second option many gardeners swear by, the milk spray. Mix 1 part milk to 2 parts water and spray it on the leaves. The proteins in milk react with sunlight to create a natural antifungal effect. Alternate the baking soda spray and the milk spray for the strongest protection. Do these 3 steps, prune, open up, and spray, and a powdery mildew plant that looked doomed will often stop its decline within days and start pushing clean new growth within a week or 2. Now, the rescue for downy mildew, which is more urgent because it moves faster. The steps are similar, but more aggressive. Remove every affected leaf immediately, the yellow-tiled ones with the fuzzy undersides, and bag them. Never compost. Open up the airflow hard. Downy mildew lives and dies by moisture and stagnant air. And then switch your spray because baking soda is less effective here. For downy mildew, a copper-based fungicide is your most reliable option, and copper is accepted in organic gardening when used correctly. Apply it thoroughly, coating both leaf surfaces, and reapply after rain. Most important, with downy mildew, water only at the base of the plant, never overhead, and always in the morning so any splashed foliage dries fast. Wet leaves are exactly how this disease spreads. Downy mildew is tougher to beat than powdery mildew, but caught early and hit hard, plants do pull through. Now, bacterial wilt. And I have to be honest with you here because honesty helps you more than false hope. If a vine is fully wilted from bacterial wilt, and you got the stringy ooze on the stem test, that individual vine cannot be cured. The bacteria have clogged its plumbing permanently, and no spray reaches inside the stem to fix it. But that does not mean the whole plant is lost. If only 1 or 2 vines are affected, cut those infected vines off completely below the wilted section and remove them from the garden. The rest of the plant, the vines that are still firm and upright, can often keep growing and producing. The real battle with bacterial wilt is stopping it from spreading, and that means going after the cucumber beetles carrying it. Get on those beetles immediately. Spray both sides of the leaves with a neem oil and soap mix. 2 tablespoons neem oil and 1 teaspoon dish soap per gallon of water. Applied in the evening after the bees have gone home so you protect your pollinators. Set out yellow sticky traps to catch the adults since they are strongly drawn to yellow. In Rodale's Ultimate Encyclopedia of Organic Gardening, the editors point out that with beetle-borne diseases like bacterial wilt, controlling the insect is the entire ballgame, because once the bacteria are inside the plant, no treatment can reach them. Prevention and beetle control, they stress, are the only real defense. So protect the healthy vines by eliminating the beetles, and you give the plant a fighting chance. Now, the rescue for the 4th case, plain stress and exhaustion. The all-over yellowing plant. This is often the most satisfying rescue because a tired plant responds so quickly to good care. First, fix the water. Deep, consistent watering at the base 2 to 3 times a week, soaking down to 6 or 8 in. Never a shallow daily sprinkle. Then mulch immediately a 3-in layer of straw around the base to hold moisture, cool the roots, and end the stress cycle. Next, feed it, because an exhausted plant is a starving plant. Make a quick banana peel and compost tea. 4 or 5 chopped banana peels and 2 handfuls of compost steeped in a 5-gallon bucket of water for 2 to 3 days. Then strained, diluted by half, and poured around the base. The potassium from the banana peels is exactly what a depleted cucumber plant needs to start fruiting again. And finally, clean up the worst of the yellow leaves so the plant can redirect its energy into new growth instead of propping up dying foliage. Water, mulch, feed, clean up. Do that, and an exhausted plant can green up and start producing again within 2 weeks. Now let me give you the universal rescue routine. The things you should do, no matter which of the 4 is attacking your plant, because in late July, it is very often a combination. Number 1, prune the damage. Whatever is dying, mildewed, or wilted, remove it and bag it. Give the plant a clean slate. Number 2, open up the airflow. Thin the center of every plant. This helps against all fungal disease at once, and it is the single most underrated rescue move there is. Number 3, water deep and at the base only. Never overhead, always morning, always deep. Wet foliage spreads disease and shallow water stresses roots. Number 4, mulch 3 in of straw. It stabilizes everything. Moisture, temperature, and stress all at once. Number 5, feed. A depleted late-season plant cannot fight disease or make fruit on empty. The banana peel compost tea refuels it fast. Number 6, protect the pollinators and hunt the pests. Spray only in the evening. Go after cucumber beetles and aphids with the neem mix and set your yellow sticky traps. Do those 6 things, and you have given a dying cucumber plant every possible chance to recover. And more often than you would believe, it does. Now, once you have saved your plant, you want to keep it from ever getting this sick again. So, let me give you the prevention that makes next season far easier. Prevention is always cheaper than rescue. The first prevention is spacing and trellising. Most cucumber disease comes down to stagnant, humid air trapped in a crowded plant. Give your plants room to breathe at least 18 into 2 ft between them, and train them vertically up a trellis instead of letting them sprawl on the ground. A trellised plant has air moving through it on all sides. Its leaves dry quickly after rain or dew, and disease struggles to get a foothold. This one change prevents more cucumber death than any spray you can buy. The second prevention is watering discipline. Water at the base, never over the leaves, and always in the morning. Every time you wet the foliage, Especially in the evening, you hand fungal spores the moisture and the overnight window they need to germinate. Morning base watering keeps leaves dry and roots deep. The third prevention is a preventive spray schedule. Do not wait for disease to appear. Starting a few weeks before the trouble season, spray your baking soda or milk solution once a week as a shield. It is far easier to keep spores from ever taking hold than to fight an established infection. Edward C. Smith's core message applies here perfectly, that the garden you set up before problems arrive matters more than anything you do after. The fourth prevention is choosing resistant varieties for next year. Plant breeders have developed cucumber varieties with strong resistance to both powdery and downy mildew, and some with tolerance to bacterial wilt as well. Look for varieties described as disease-resistant on the seed packet or in the catalog description. A resistant variety grown with good airflow and clean watering is a plant that may sail through the exact late summer conditions that would have killed an ordinary one. And the fifth prevention is crop rotation and garden cleanup. Fungal spores and bacteria overwinter in old plant debris and in the soil. At the end of the season, clean up every scrap of cucumber vine and leaf and remove it. Do not leave it to rot in place. And next year, plant your cucumbers in a different spot in the garden. Ideally, somewhere that has not grown cucumbers, squash, melons, or pumpkins for a couple of years. Rotation breaks the disease cycle by denying the pathogens the host they have been waiting for. Put those 5 preventions in place, and next summer you will spend far less time rescuing and far more time harvesting. Let me leave you with the truth that changes how you will garden from here on. A dying cucumber plant in late July is almost never as dead as it looks. The white coating, the yellow leaves, the wilting vines, they look like the end, but they are usually a cry for help. And if you answer it correctly and fast, the plant recovers and keeps feeding you for weeks longer, often right up to the first frost. The gardeners who lose their plants are not unlucky. They just did not know what they were looking at, so they gave up. You will not make that mistake anymore. You can diagnose it, you can treat it, and you can save it. So, do not rip that plant out. Go diagnose it right now using everything you just learned and start the rescue today. If this helped you save a plant, hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more gardeners who are watching their cucumbers die and do not know why. And share it with someone whose garden is struggling right now. And if you have not yet, subscribe and turn on the bell so the next rescue guide reaches you in time. Now go save your cucumbers. If this guide changed the way you look at the struggling vines in your garden, please subscribe to our channel. We are uncovering the gardening secrets that often get overlooked. Let's grow a better future together. The next harvest-saving treasure will be revealed soon.